How's it going, everyone? Runt9 here, and welcome back to another episode of Runt9 Plays City Skylines, the city of Pyradian, episode number 3. So, I apologize about there not being a video on Sunday. I was out of town and wasn't able to find the time to do any recording, but I think that I'm back on a normal schedule and should hopefully be able to get these videos out on a more consistent schedule. So, in the last episode, we hit our 4,800 population milestone, and that really didn't give us a whole lot of stuff that we're necessarily going to use, although it does give us some highways and the larger versions of some of the city services, which is great, but we're not necessarily going to dive into any of that right away. Just like we could buy this tile, but I think I'm going to wait until I can buy this tile too before we start building our big tourism district over here, and instead focus on continuing to build up our circle city. I think the ideal goal here in this episode would be to actually go ahead and hit Big Town and start throwing in some of the high density stuff in the inner rings. And I also think that I want the very center inner ring here to end up being a city park. Not necessarily like a quote-unquote central park per se, but just I think that it would be a nice way for people to kind of be guided into the city. Otherwise, I think that the first thing that I really want to do, I haven't played in a few days, so I'm making sure that everything's good. Why did we turn our trash budget all the way up? Because I'm using recycling centers, and that's the only way at the moment to keep up with things. Okay, makes sense. I'm going to pay and take out the loans immediately, because I would like to finish this off. We were doing the 4-lane roads. I've also had a ton of problems with some of my mods. It's been fairly frustrating, and I hope that I have solved the problems, but I don't know for a fact if I have. I feel like 82 was definitely not the right answer here, based on where that's ending up at. So maybe this one was... Let's snap that to 180, please. Maybe 92 was the answer. Yeah, it looks like that was the right answer. So I know that we have to go back in here and delete all of this stuff in order to bring this down into the city. Or bring the circle all the way around, I should say. If I do this, that appears to be correct. And then it'll be a little interesting how we manage the highway here. So I think we got back on track. I remember the circle was oblong before. Yeah, this was the loop where we were fixing that problem. So obviously we are going to zone things off up here to be more industry. But here we have kind of an interesting predicament as to how we manage this. In fact, we may want to go ahead and buy this tile so we can do a better highway off-ramp. In fact, I also would like to just bring this as a raised highway, or maybe even an underground highway through the city. I think an above-ground highway would look better, even though it kind of destroys a little bit of zoning, and bring it straight through the city and connect it up with a loop that goes along here onto our tourist island that loops back around here. I think that could be pretty fun. But for now, I'm going to do this in... Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this, but I think for now we're going to make it to where... I don't necessarily like this, but let's have this come out to there, and this come out to there, and then delete those. This is probably terrible for traffic. In fact, I can almost guarantee you that we're going to want to, at the very least, upgrade that once there and once there. We'll see. I imagine that this is going to be pretty garbage, but, you know, we'll see. And then we need to make sure that people can actually get into the city as well. Also that, I realize that's uneven. This is a very temporary solution. I'm not particularly happy about it myself. I don't want to talk about it. Just forget that I did that. We need to add in these. We already did one down there, and then this one is totally at a right angle, I swear. And we'll do one down here, roughly about the same place as before. And I believe our city services are also in like a terrible situation here. I know I also wanted to turn off zoning on these in-between streets, which it looks like I already did there. Perfect. So that way the zoning fills in properly. And with that, we're going to flood fill. Actually, I'm pretty positive that I do not want any zoning right here because it's going to drive me batty to have traffic going through here like that. So we will zone off industry here, and let's bring it in a little tighter there, and then just grab our brush and fill in the rest of that with all of our industry. And then we will do a commercial block right here. And I guess we don't necessarily have to do commercial in the same way. In fact, I would prefer that we didn't. Let's fill in that as commercial to there. Just to kind of mix things up a bit. I think that it can be a bit interesting. And also, one of the things that I'm not doing that probably would be a smart idea, to be completely honest, would be to, in fact, we'll also fill in some commercial down here, would be to actually have some pedestrian pathways going up and down the city in between the different circles. That would probably be more efficient than the way that I'm doing things right now. Do we have enough money to fix the fact that our city services are kind of crappy right now? I would prefer to get a hospital in here somewhere, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. If I put a med clinic up here, oh man. Yep, circle cities are a lot of fun, but this is definitely their weakness. Fire coverage is pretty bad as well. We'll want to drop one down here, I would say. Police coverage is fine enough for me to not worry too much about it. And then we'll put a med clinic up here and try not to think about the fact that it's not as good as it could be. Elementary school coverage is also fairly crap at the moment. I think that one right around here would be good. And we'll throw one up here, and then there goes all our money. So let's go up to 3 times speed, and let's let the game just run for a little while. So definitely want to start keeping an eye on traffic. I think these in-between streets are going to start running into some issues. Also, we need to water the rest of this outer ring here. I totally botched that up. That's perfectly okay. With just enough money to spare. So I was having issues with the mod that makes your roads use electricity. So what I did is I grabbed the underground power lines mod, and that's probably the way that I'm going to handle power from here on out. It seems to work better and have less weird issues with it. Oh yeah, look at that mess. First things first, let's turn off traffic lights on all the things. Yeah, traffic lights are bad, and I need to make sure that we don't use them in any place ever. Until we do use them, in which case I will use them heavily. So traffic is bad, and again, I already kind of knew that that was a thing that was going to happen. Unfortunately, in order to get into the city, people are going to come on this road, turn around, and go here. Like I said, this is less than ideal. And unfortunately, people also are not leveraging the whole circle. But there's enough traffic being scattered about. Also, The one that I got to work this time was disabling the mod that is better traffic congestion reports. I'll have to go back to getting used to how bad the normal traffic congestion is. Because, like, it's saying that this is orange, but there's not really a lot of traffic there. Like, it's moving perfectly fine. So 91% traffic flow is fine. I don't feel like there's much to worry about right now. We are making some good money. It's also complaining about needing some commercial demand. Oh, I was going to do some residential up here as well. So we got some commercial buildings moving in. Parks, we have not dropped down any land value increasing buildings. So how about we drop down a big park right there and throw in, I don't know, a botanical garden over here somewhere. Or not, because it won't quite work. What about one of these right here? And what about a bouncy castle or a little merry-go-round in here somewhere? Yeah. Just to start getting land value working its way up a little bit. As you can tell, the land value is not the greatest in the world. Garbage processing still continues to be a thorn in our side. Maybe I do want to do a landfill, but I don't want to, again, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into that at the moment. All right, we are definitely making bank. That makes me feel pretty good about getting out here before too terribly long. Also, as soon as we get high density stuff, that's when it's really going to start popping. All right, good. Anytime I see a fire right now, I get a little bit concerned. Not gonna lie, because unfortunately, I have not done a very good job with designing this circle. Like I said before, I'm kind of guesstimating what's going to work here. Apparently, it would not let me see my high school setup there. I'm going to put a high school out here, just to make sure that we have all of the education that we can. And apparently I can't click on university either. We don't have university unlocked anyway, so that's perfectly fine. So the land value is going to help a lot with getting buildings leveled up, getting some taxes rolling in, all of that good stuff. And we've got plenty of commercial buildings moving in. In fact, it looks like that our commercial demand is starting to skyrocket a bit more. Maybe we want to go ahead and build an inner loop, or industry is not climbing very much, so maybe we start pulling some commercial buildings out here. And maybe even dezoning along here. And I think that I will go along and see if there's any pockets in here like so. Just to throw in a few more commercial buildings where there is technically room. So this definitely, I see a lot of people walking and there's a lot of cars, but again, the traffic flow is fine. There's no backups. Again, this intersection is garbage, but I know it's only temporary. And that's why I liked that mod and would wish that it was still working. So we do need more power. An oil power plant would be great right now, and we are going to be able to drop one in. We're making some good money. We'll put it on our outer ring here. Looks like this is definitely going to be a hot intersection, and I'm certainly not surprised by that at all. Let me make sure that my TPME settings are correct. I did go through and set this in the beginning. Yes, I did. Perfect. We have enough to get our oil power plant now, which will solve our power problems for quite a while. And so honestly, I'm just going to wait for a bit more money to roll in, see if we can't go maybe one more ring in. Although it may not be a bad idea, because we're definitely starting to hit kind of an upper limit here. It may be a good idea to buy this tile, go ahead and do a ring highway to kind of separate the inner circle city from what's going to end up being some of the more coastal suburbs. And like I said, I do want to bring the highway through the center of the city. I don't know that I'm going to make a cross out of it, but I think bringing it over the center of the city is going to be interesting. Potentially with a sort of roundabout intersection over the top. Again, I hate the default, hey look, everything is red here because people are slowing down because it's a smaller road. I'm going to see if I can fix my mod problems because it is incredibly frustrating, but... Oh, there we go. Yep, residential demand is climbing very quickly. Maybe we need to do one more ring before we can get here. Or maybe we should start building some of the coastal suburbs a little bit. Because we are obviously going to have some good land value along the coastlines. not necessarily near Poop River, per se, but at least everywhere else. Why does it think our police coverage is bad? I mean, I guess it's bad, but our crime rate's 7%, which isn't the worst that it could possibly be. Okay, residential demand is kind of soaring, and I don't like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and while things are building up, I'm going to start with another inner ring here. Nope. Curve tool. So we're going to need to come out, what is it going to be, 42 units? And come on down here. Nope, looks like we're going to need to go 52. Also totally wrong. So maybe 47 is what we're going for. I'm apparently doing this very wrong. So 42 was almost correct. Problem is I don't have a good sense of where my halfway point is in the circle, but it looks like 44 seems to be about right. We'll go with that, and if we have to delete it, we have to delete it, you know? That's just the fact of life. As the infamous Nasus once said, the cycle of life and death continues. That's a League of Legends reference for those of you who are not as cultured as myself. Not that playing that particular game makes you cultured or anything. So now I feel like things are off. Is that because inside the city the circle is... Yeah, okay. So we need to come down... Oh, this is bad. I've totally botched this up entirely. But, you know, it'll look fine, I promise. At the end of the day, it needs to be functional over aesthetic. And some of you may disagree with me there, and that's totally within your right to disagree with me. But I definitely tend to lean more heavily on functional over aesthetic, and in that case you may be asking, well, why am I building a circular city? And the answer to that question is, I'm not entirely sure. I thought it would be fun, but it turns out it definitely does not look as cool as I was hoping for it to look. And we need to go back through and turn off zoning on these little side streets. And we need to go in and turn off red lights. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Gotta get back into the swing of things, man. Sometimes it just doesn't go quite as expected when you leave for a while and come back to a game, and it really just feels like you've forgotten everything you know. So city service coverage does seem to be acceptable. Death care coverage, oh god. The death care coverage is bad. I don't know why the British accent came into play here, but it also felt appropriate. We are getting pretty close to the next milestone. I think that we're definitely going to need a combination of kind of everything here. But I think this is where the industry probably stops. Maybe we will put industry along the outer ring here, fill in everything else around it with commercial, because I don't want to have industry in the main city center. I feel like that would really detract from what we're trying to go for with the aesthetic. And here I go talking about aesthetics again when I was literally just saying that I care about functionality more. But, you know, details. Don't get bogged down in the details. If you get bogged down in the details listening to the way I talk, you're going to have a bad day. Because let's be honest here, half the time I don't even understand what I'm saying, so I certainly can't expect you to understand what I'm saying. That's just putting undue expectations on everyone else, and I apologize for that. Also, I think our school coverage is actually decent enough. I say as I look at the elementary schools and realize that it's actually about as terrible as it can possibly get. We also need to give these people some water. And why don't we just go ahead and fill in the rest of the circle here? There we go. So everything else that we do is going to be high density, but we are definitely about to hit the next milestone, and that's definitely the point at which we will finish off the city center and start building up the awesome little downtown area. And we may even start to grow the high density further out as time goes by as well. Milestone should pop here in just a second. There we go. All right. Metro is definitely going to get used. So I want to make it clear that I think that public transit is where the Circle City really starts to shine. And you'll see what I mean here pretty soon. The university is definitely going to go downtown if at all possible, even though it is probably the worst possible scenario for traffic. I think that what I want to do here as well is pay and take these loans. And let's just go ahead and I can definitely tell that this is less than perfect, but just grab our 4-lane roads and try not to think about it too hard. Center ourselves here and just make it happen. I want to get our downtown poppin', you know? That's what it's all about. It's all about, like with the Circle City, it's all about that awesome downtown area. So 32, 32, okay. I think I remember how to draw circles. Yeah, I definitely had just completely botched it up on the previous one. I believe we are still off by 1. You know, there are 3 constants in programming. Yeah, that was definitely off. There are 3 constants in programming. One is you'll always find the bug at the worst possible time. Usually after you've already gone to production and it looks like everything's going to work out perfectly. The second constant is off by 1 errors. And I know I kind of butchered that joke, but you know, butchering jokes is like a favorite pastime of mine. And the longer you watch my videos, the more you will find that out about me. That I really thoroughly enjoy completely ruining what are otherwise really good jokes. We are going to, again, just continue filling in this city center. I have to go 19 units, which it will not let me go 18. I need to turn off road guideline snapping here, I would say is probably the right answer. Yeah. That was definitely getting me from the corner there. 19, I need to go up 20 here, and I think that's probably what messed us up on that last one. Okay, now I want the road guidelines back on for this one. And this is probably going to be the last little bit of this circle. 8. Is 8 the right answer? 8 is the right answer. You know, like the show. 8 is enough. So we need to go 7 here. 7, 7, and then go up 8. Which of course it's not going to let us do. So we'll just do that. Now, I don't want any of this interior zoning. But unfortunately, we cannot turn it off on only one side of the road. But what I'm going to immediately do is that is a park. And where... Pink park area. Park. That's race park. And then I don't think there's anything else I'm going to do right off the bat. And we're definitely going to do an IT cluster downtown because there isn't actually going to be that much down here. And I know I need to do the side roads and all that. We will deal with that in just a moment. But first things first, I need to put a main entrance on here. Small park main gate. Right here. And then just do basic path there. And a basic path there. So it's not a big park. But it's a park, you know? It's not going to be able to fit hardly anything. So maybe it was a bad idea to go... I think maybe I don't want to have... Yeah. I realize that this was a waste of money. But I am perfectly okay with admitting defeat, that the game got the better of me here. So we're actually going to bring the park area up here. Yes, much better. So that we can actually have a decent sized park. And then we are going to increase the district size as well. And the reason why I add a district here as well is for, where is it? Is it services? Prefer parks and park maintenance boost. I like to turn on the parks as well as parks and recreation. And then for Manor City Park, well, it's hard to click on it because I made my life very difficult. But if there's one thing I'm good at, it's making my life difficult. So let's put a park main gate on this inner circle anywhere that the game will not allow us. Okay, that's fair. You know, I feel you. I see the error of my ways. And I honestly want this to just be across through the middle here. There. We'll add more stuff as time goes by. Park Plaza can go right there. And then, you know, I'm just gonna kind of throw this stuff in here and build it out as time goes by. And I think that we should probably also, I don't usually do this, but we should fence this off as well. Can I curve this, please? So I'm going to want to come out, what was it, 20 units, 19 units? Not quite. Probably 15? Almost. Let's try that. And then I actually think that we need to do side entrances on, well, the sides. And connect this up with just a simple straight fence tool. connect that up. Yeah, I didn't think about the fact that these needed to be side gates, but it does make a whole heck of a lot of sense that they would be side gates. Now, they don't exactly come in at a 90-degree angle, but see, there you go again with the details. What have I told you about details? The more you worry about the details, the worse. All right, let's do that, and then try to connect that in with the straight tool. That'll work. So now we're going to try, what is it, 17 on this one, and see if it sucks a little bit less. Hey, there we go. Look at that, perfectly circular fence. And we'll build this up over time. I don't want to spend the whole episode just building this park out, but I do think that this is a cool use of the very deep center of the city. I feel like I haven't been at the correct angle here. One might even say that I wasn't at the right angle there. Haha! Yeah, I know. But hey, now we have a park. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the connecting streets, which is going to be 90-degree angle here. And yeah, I can definitely tell where our circle city went wrong. It's not the most pleasant looking thing in the world. I get it. But you got to understand, I had this thought in my head, and I kind of just had to see what would happen. And honestly, I think it looks pretty cool. Despite the fact that it also simultaneously looks terrible, I really couldn't be happier with it. And we'll draw this one right there. Look at that. Look at how this looks. So this episode is running a little bit on the lengthy side. So I will try to get things wrapped up here in just a moment, but let's take a look at what our zoning and city services looks like. So we are going to need a fire department down here. I think I will just drop one right there, and a little police station is not needed. Elementary school, a university we're going to want, but we don't have the money for that. Park building, we will probably want some sort of land value increasing park down here. Maybe right there. Now, here's where it gets fun. Is around the park, I want to do, if I can get my bearings right here, I'm actually going to bring this district out here and try to snap it to the road. Yes, that is going to be doable. Okay. So Elizabeth Square, no, it's definitely Elizabeth Park. And Manor City Park is also going to be named Elizabeth Park. Policies here. I usually turn on most of these. I know I do that, that, and that. And we're going to leave the tickets at $10 for now. This will definitely draw people downtown, which is exactly what I want. I already have water. Power will spread as necessary. We'll do underground power if need be. But here was my thought. I want this intersection to be office buildings. And why did I paint a district there? Oh, well, you probably already know. This is going to be our IT cluster, surrounding this nice little Elizabeth Park in the middle. And as you can tell, we're already hitting that ring, and that kind of defeats a lot of the purpose here. But I have a plan. I promise it'll all make sense soon. And really what I mean by that is I'm going to start building out high density And that's one of the fun parts about the Circle City is then you can go back and start upgrading things slowly, one ring at a time. Instead of having to figure out, okay, well, where in my suburbs do I want to upgrade things? It becomes a lot easier to see when things are in this ring-like structure. So we're going to put commercial buildings at these entrances into the city. And that's kind of a mess. We'll go back and clean that up in just a moment. Okay, and then everything else in here, after we fix this absolute travesty. Man, I feel like I could just clean that up off camera. All right, let's marquee tool that to be residential. And I think that's everything that I want to do. So in the next episode, we will see how this builds up, how many people start using our park, and maybe we'll start looking at expanding out onto our little tourist island. I will also want to see about running a highway, although it does kind of corrupt the park a little bit to do it that way. So, yeah, I'll have to think about it. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit me with a like or comment. It helps out a lot. Also, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Check out the community Discord to connect with me directly. And if you're interested in donating to my channel, there's a Patreon link in the description. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will catch you on the next one.